welcome to Upfront with John Baptiste, also known as Bapo, on AM 970 WSTX. We're broadcasting right here on the beautiful island of St. Croix, where this morning it's all sunny and bright. So, what do we do then? We first of all we give thanks and praises. We got to be thankful for life. Life is such a beautiful experience. I just thought about it. As a matter of fact, my wife and I we had a discussion this morning, and I said to her, "Well, we only know of one God, one supreme creator, as far as this universe is concerned. And some talk about multiverses. But as far as this universe is concerned, we know of one creator God who has put this in place. But what if there was another creator God in the next dimension who also has a universe? So possibly we've got several universes run by different gods, and perhaps well, they're all separate, so that this one doesn't know about that one. So what if, you know? And then as I thought about it, I said, but then what really makes time of importance to us, of significance to us? Why is it that we almost have like an obsession with time? Because there must have been a period when time wasn't measured, which would have been just eternity, just being, just reality, just that which is. No concerns about past, present, future, just being, just existence, just reality. And so, unless we came to a point where we measure time, we characterize, we compartmentalize time in terms of past, present, and future, unless we have that notion of time, then what is time really? What's the significance? What's the relevance? It's just eternity. So eternity, in a sense, is the absence of time. Because time is just the notion, the concept that we've come to utilize to compartmentalize periods of existence. So now that we have done that, we have past, we have the present, we have the future. It's not totally out of that which is permitted by the Creator, because it's the Creator who, when He created the heavens and the earth included, He set up everything in such a way that we have constellations, that we have Earth and other planets in constant motion around the sun in that area called the Milky Way. And we know that beyond the Milky Way, there is extreme vastness with all kinds of planetary systems therein. It's amazing. It's amazing that we have such universal setup, if I may. And we take these things for granted. Some of us, as we come to the knowledge of such, we think we're so high and mighty, all consumed in the little bit of knowledge that we have, the little bit of information we've been able to uncover, that we get to a point where we think ourselves as, hey, I am all that there is. As some say, I am God. I'm not doubting that there is a spark of divinity in us, each of us, a spark of divinity in everything around us. But the reality is that we are created beings. And if there are created beings, then there must be a creator being. And I believe that there are many creators, but there is a supreme creator. As one of the great philosophers put it, Aristotle, I think it was, unless I'm mistaken, he gives us the concept of the prime mover, the prime source. If you don't have the prime mover to begin movement, there is no movement. So there must have been a prime mover to get other things moving. There must be a primary source that gives rise to other things. And so I just want to say, maybe I'll share a bit of philosophy with you guys out there listening and viewing. And I just want to say, let's be thankful, because life is such a beautiful experience. And I think it takes certain happenings, things that happen to us, happen to those around us, that make us come to a point where we appreciate this moment. And in appreciating this moment, we reflect on moments past. And we sort of like project into moments to come. And we become truly appreciative of those who have been with us, but who have since left us. And we can contemplate with rapt anticipation those we expect to join us in the near future. Children that we have not seen, grandchildren that we have not seen, future brides, spouses, additional family members, neighbors, friends, you name it. It is just such a wonderful, wonderful experience just to be alive, to have life more abundantly, as the Messiah puts it. It's wonderful. So I say, folks, let's be thankful. Let's be thankful for the gift of life and all the opportunities that we have with each new day, as we see the sun sets and then again the sun rises each morning and every night. Beautiful. It's beautiful to behold the starry nights. It's beautiful to see the sun rising above the horizon early in the morning. It's also wonderful to behold the pre-dawn landscape. Wow. It's also lovely. We don't have the opportunity here so much to travel long distances by bus and train, but I recall driving through countryside areas, not driving rather, but riding on a bus. And it seems almost as though the trees were running past you. The trees were actually stationary, but I'm sitting in the bus and the bus is driving along and I'm watching out the window, and it seems like all the trees, everything was just rushing past me. Maybe that was a childhood experience. And so perhaps now that I'm grown, I don't even take time to observe these things. I don't observe. That's interesting. As a child, I experienced that. But as an adult, it doesn't matter. Is it that I'm not experiencing that sensation anymore? What's going on? I need to take a deep dive and to find out. But again, we give thanks. We give praises. And it's good to be alive and well. There are a number of things I want to get into this morning. For those of you who want to call and share with us, the numbers are 773-0390-773-0490. We always appreciate hearing from you. So we encourage you to call. And so again, and if you're on Facebook, we want to welcome you. It doesn't matter your point of connection, your point of contact with us. We want to thank you and welcome you to the program. As I promised you last week, every Monday, I'm going to talk some things from cover over. Much of it will be based in statistics and factual data. Some will be conclusions that I have drawn, but we're going to deal with that. Before we get into that, I'm going to do that later on in the program. But I want to mention some observations that I made. And before I get into that, let's see. Somebody's trying to reach me. Let's see who it is. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Betty. This is why calling.
Good morning and welcome to the program. How are you doing, my brother?
I couldn't be better. I'm here trying to campaign against a bill. I call it the Momo bill being brought to the people by Ken Gittins. Bill number 360074 is a bill that Ken Gittins is taking the responsibility away from public work and WAPA, cutting the trees and putting it on the property owner.
Let me get that bill number again. Let me get the bill number again.
It's 360074, and I would like to read it to the public because I know some people agree, some don't disagree, but I disagree. And I put on the public record that Mr. Fye disagree. And when I believe in something, I will die for it. A lot of people is coward. They want to stand for nothing. They're afraid of the backlash. Well, backlash means I got more years behind me than in front. Any day my number could come. Let me read what the bill says so that I don't misinform the public. Give me a couple minutes. Let me pull it up quick and read it for the people.
Okay.
This is that I got, it says, right on top of the consortium, Senator Kenny Ken. This is why it says, overgrown trees and brush along all roadways can create serious safety hazards and even contribute to power outages. That is taking place right now under the responsibility of public work and WAPA. Right now, for years. So, I question that part. That's why I will be introducing legislation next month to address vegetation going from private property onto public roads and utility lines here in the Virgin Islands. Yeah, what I said? From private property, within the government, 6 feet from the road is the easement for the government. The government 6 feet from the road can come and dig it up, plant 4.5 to whatever they want, 6 feet from the road. That's why he said, my bill, his bill. Because he wake up with a Momo idea, it sounds good, I'm going to introduce it. That's what they're going to do. Momo things like Momo. The Virgin Islands Roadside Property Maintenance and Vegetation Act would establish clear standards requiring property owners to maintain vegetation along roadway adjacent to their property. Along roadway, people. The government, you pay property tax. These people don't like the Virgin Islands people. They like the prestige and the nonsense. When they're going to tell the majority of people who own property, elderly people, that the government owns from 1990, last election, the fraud, the people say they're going to give them some money, the people want to jump in the street, kumbaya. After then, nothing ain't happening. The people ain't getting the money. WAPA ain't cutting the tree them in for years. Public work ain't cutting the side of the road. They won't hire people. And Kenny Gittins now telling you it's going to be your responsibility. And I hope he's probably saying, well, if they ain't got the old people ain't got the money seen there, then pay somebody. When they're going to pay for pull it out, I won't say it on the radio. Let me continue reading the bill. Would establish care required property owner to maintain vegetation along roadway adjacent to their property. This measure is about improving public safety and protecting crucial infrastructure. That is, all the same WAPA ain't cutting for their infrastructure. Now we point it on the people. And who tell WAPA to plant the pole in private property? Who tell WAPA to run the line over private property that when the people grow up, it go up in their tree? And he telling the people, when you have cut that and it rub up there, it rub up there and you chop that tree and you get shot, who gonna be responsible for your death? You see these people go wake up drinking mumu juice and stupid bush with crucial rum mixing house a bush. Don't say nothing.
No. When you finish, go ahead. Let me let you finish.
I'm looking forward to discussing Bill 36. Write it down. Bill 36 0074. When it comes before the Committee on Housing, Transportation, Telecommunication, and Aid. Together we can work together toward a safer and more resilient Virgin Islands. Can you get in? I calling you out to call public works. Up by Corby last to school, the road is terrible. Can you get in? Up on Rattan. The road is a mess up there and the corner them. They need to go repair that place before somebody get kids coming around them corner, shunning these holes. Can you get in? From the Fifth Lane to King Cross Street, that is a road way back across. Is in horrible condition. Hard public work. Tell them to fix the road instead of bringing some dummy bill that the elder people that the government owns. You can't get your tax return in the instead of 2023 with 2026. Can you get in? Where the people don't get the money from to pay somebody to go cut the grass, the same one the government robbing. I know where they're going to get it from, but I won't say it on the radio. Go ahead and try listening.
Yeah, first of all, let me just say to you, based on what you pointed out in terms of areas that need attention, and the government has failed to give any attention to those areas. When you're going towards the Seventh-day Adventist school out in...
Oh, yes.
I just saw on Facebook where somebody posted that apparently they used a metal plate, which is now perforated with holes, and a real potential danger in terms of vehicles just sinking through that with children on board. And that has not been addressed by the government, but somebody saw the potential danger and has posted that on Facebook. So perhaps the senator needs to take a look at that and see how he can get some emergency funding to address that situation. In addition to that, if you notice, and for all those who are listening and viewing, we've had a situation where over the years, utility companies come, they dig into the roadway to run their lines on the ground, and they never return the road to its original condition. Nothing is done about that. The roads continue to deteriorate as a result of that. It goes from bad to worse. Nobody really cares. So why? That's something that, the government needs to address. As a matter of fact, maybe the government should even get some kind of fee from those companies for having the cables buried in those areas, just as when companies or people who use boats and they build those little jetties, what have you, they've got to pay a fee for using the shoreline, which belongs to the public. Now, there is the whole question of what is public easement. And when you have your property bordering a government-owned roadway, you have to give easement to the public, to the government, if the government wants to do something. So in a sense, it becomes a situation of quasi co-ownership, because it's owned by you, the homeowner, but the government also has unfettered access. So that has to be considered. And then again, we have to look at the situations. I mean, there is just so much that this bill calls for. What are the areas where that has been such a major concern, that you have persons who have their residences or the properties bordering the public roadway, such that when trees overhang the road, it becomes a hazard, if I may. And then in the past, when these things were properly maintained, it was public works coming around, making sure that the limbs are cut so as not to present a hazard of sorts. For some reason, a lot of services that public works gave or they were responsible for, that was taken away at a time when government, for some reason, was looking at privatization of public services. They did not even think that that was going to impact the GERS system. So they were taking things away from public works in particular and giving that to private companies by way of contract. And you know what? That decimated the ratio of active government employees to retirees to the point where we came to 1 to 1. Before that, it was about, I knew it to be about either 3 to 1 or 2 to 1. Nobody checked to see that, given our position as 3 separate islands, forming 1 territory, and all the restrictions and constraints that presents to us, it's necessary to have a government service structure that's unlike other places where you have contiguous land masses being administered by 1 government. So they took away all these things from public works and other companies. And after they'd taken things from public works, they found it necessary to create a whole new structure called Waste Management Authority. Public works as a unit was doing it. But somehow, due to the wisdom or lack of wisdom of individuals, they brought in Waste Management Authority, which has become a bigger disaster. I'm saying, man, we need to learn from past mistakes and not continue to go down that slippery road all the time. That's just my take,
Well, as I said, I listened to you saying that, no, they take it away from public. I know this public working ain't nobody. Public working at Killington too. And if they hire people, as I tell people, these people know what they're doing to destroy GIS. Because if they don't hire people, GIS got to go under. It must. It is a must that, right now I call it a vacation, but my grandfather always tell me nothing good lasts forever. So prepare yourself for when you run out. But so much people on the GIS system know when it got back about what are they going to do. Public work need to hire people and go cut the side of the road. Stop. The problem is all the elected people that we elect, the set of bandit, gangster, and Nasraba in Dutch crooks, the peaceful Canadian layers, decided that they're going to get their friend contracts so that they could get their hands greased through the back door. That's the fact. That ain't no lie. That's factual. And that's why they destroy all the government agency them by the dummy friend, the higher dummy who know what they're doing, and people who want to go along just to get along, and that's where the problem is. So before can you go and tell public work, tell WAPA, hire people to cut the bush, he's saying no, it's the property owner responsibility. He gave it to the, and then he got enough to put public work to find the same people when public work didn't do it, nobody didn't find in there. This is the kind of mumu we got. I call him a mumu. People don't get mad, me and no respect for it. No, not if they come with dummy talk to me, dummy action. I call a spade. You don't got to like five real. I say what you want to say, and I can't say. If you're mad, shut the radio off. It's factual. Tell public work hire people so that GIS could get more money. Tell WAPA hire people so GIS could get more money. Don't tell me that I got a tree, WAPA lying in the tree, I call them for 6 months, and they ain't coming, and then you telling me I must sell in my life to cut the tree. Or hire somebody to cut the tree to see I'm flapping my yard, and then I responsible for that. No, but sit down. They got bigger fish to pay. Tell public work go up by the last elementary school and fix the road. Tell public work up on Rattan Hill, coming wrong there by the US, them coming down, and the corner is terrible. Tell public work go down by the seaplane. That little piece will go from the seaplane to King Cross Street. Even outrageous conditions, fix the road, can you get in? Do something. I'm telling you where the problem is. It's public work on the road. Listen, I don't talk about that headache if me have one back. I was going away for months, a couple months, going up to the wall. I go into public work and I maintain where I live, the side of the road. I tell them to please cut it, don't let it go up till I get back. They never cut it back, please. Never. When I come back, it was jungle. A guy who mother live in here, he don't live in here. He take his weed back. I said, he didn't cut it again. He take his weed back and he cut it. When I see out there the afternoon, I tell you, well, if he cut it, I'm going to cut it again, but I didn't ever cut it again. The guy cut it, so now I'm maintaining it. I don't ask them for nothing. I ain't advertising what I go do. These people, 2 years later, backseat, public will call me to ask me where I need a machine to cut. 2 years later, these people go to head. I talking from fact, me lying. I went in when I was going away. I know I would have been away for a couple months. Public work, nobody, not even the neighbor, I mean, they say, well, fly down, let me take a lamb or cut. Nobody did it. So me, that's why me tolerating nonsense from Kenny getting about put the old people to cut the place. If I don't see how I say, well, if they can't cut it, no. Not while the government continue to shaft the people at the Virgin Islands. They owe them from 1990. They can't get back the tax return until they ain't no 2023 tax return yet. We're going to fight. We in 2026. We're in the wall. You hear that nonsense? Anyway, thank you for the
before you go.
And remember, it's bill 360074.
Yeah,
Say no to Kenny Mobile.
before you go, Coach Paul, before you go, let me just share this with you. You know, I've been doing a little bit of research relative to rum cover over. And that's why every Monday, beginning as of last Monday, every Monday I give a little piece about my discoveries concerning the rum cover over revenues that we receive. And I want to just share this quickly. I'll be talking about it a little later on during this broadcast. But here it is here. This says here, while substantial cover over revenues are contracted to the GERS, the pension system remains underfunded relative to liabilities, and the strategy does not fully eliminate financial risk. In other words, this special purpose vehicle has done much to shore up the system, but there is much more work that needs to be done to remove the financial risks, and senators don't seem to pay any attention to that. I just wanted to share that with you.
No, because guess what? The visionless. Let's call it what it is, the visionless. The governor of the Virgin Islands, my boy gangster Brian, said he fixed GIS, which was a blatant lie at the peaceful tactic. But guess what? The people like you to lie to them. When you lie to them, they love you more.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about it is that he did not fix it. He took some steps to help shore up the system, and yes, it's good, but it's not good enough. We need to do much more.
But if you say it's fixing on that file,
it is not fixed. And like I said, I'll be sharing information, in terms of, because yeah, go ahead.
I've been listening. Thank you for the time. Have a wonderful day. And I hope that the people will support me on this one. Not Mr. File this time up by himself. Send out to Momo, Kenny Momo bill 360074. Run, if you bring it, run here in the bill out come election time. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks for calling and sharing. Bye. Hello. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning on this beautiful day in paradise.
Good morning to you and welcome to the program. You sound awesome, so things must be good in your neck of the woods.
Well, each morning I reset. And I am on my spiritual, physical, mental, and historical journey. So I feel good. It's a blessing.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
To another sunrise. Well, it's more than 7 decades since we are in the revised Organic Act of 1954. That's what's governing us. That's the de facto constitution. I don't know what's the status of the Sixth Constitutional Convention. I just hope and pray that this time there's success. Nonetheless, there's something in that revised Organic Act that's problematic. There's a section there that says you can be a convicted felon and let's get a pardon and be eligible to run for the legislature. And there's only one that has been controversy before, with former Senator legendary Alisa Chucky Hansen. I didn't specify what moral turpitude. She wasn't convicted for a felony. And I did some research. I have not found any place else in any jurisdiction under the United States that has such an eligibility requirement to run for the first branch. Are you aware of any place?
No, I'm not.
Any state? Not even the unincorporated territories. Except for Guam and the U.S. Virgin Islands having that stipulation. And this guy, I'm not going to call anything. He has a pending court case. And one of the stipulations was not to be on social media discussing his case, and he has been. And he is promoting a candidacy. I know it's not official now. To run for the legislature, the 37th legislature, but it's alleged he's a convicted felon. And the only person that could pardon him is the governor of Ohio, where the felony conviction occurred. But nonetheless, he is still promoting his candidacy as a fuck.
Is he the one promoting the candidacy, or you have an organization, a group promoting his candidacy?
And I was wondering how is he challenging the interpretation of it, because it's a federal law. The revised Organic Act of 1954 is a federal, and we can't amend it. And it's part of the Supreme Law. The Supreme Law is not just the U.S. Constitution. The Supreme Law includes also federal laws for the U.S. Code and court rulings. And we cannot amend this.
Let me ask you.
Adapt it and make it our constitution, and it could be amended. So I want to know, do you think he interpreted it to mean, just a question, that as long as your conviction isn't in the territory, because it's a bold, he's making some bold statements, some bold moves.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. Is the individual himself making those statements and promoting his candidacy, or is there a group or an organization?
What was your question? You broke up a moment.
I'm asking you if the individual himself is the one promoting his candidacy in violation of a judge's ruling, or is it an organization or a group?
I don't plead the fifth on that one.
Oh, because hear me out.
I ain't making no allegation, no assumption.
All right, because hear me out on this. If a judge tells me that I should refrain from speaking about a matter publicly, but then family members of mine, friends of mine, have decided to speak about a matter, that's them and not me.
Yeah, I think he's doing some legal gymnastics, and he's probably looking at loopholes, and that's the issue with the revised Organic Act. You got loopholes, you got ambiguous language, and if for any other reason, that's why we need our own constitution, something ratified by the people. And in that constitution, it tells you the role and responsibilities of the first branch. And I know senators have oversight over all the different agencies and governmental departments. But do you think one senator has more influence than the others in terms of engaging with a commissioner?
There have been cases where commissioners and directors appear to have been intimidated by senators of strong personality traits, and so they kowtow to them.
Yeah, I know, like Chucky Hansen.
Well, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm telling you.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, I think she was very influential. But my point, though, is this. I don't believe you should put the button up one factor in terms of getting the roads done, and that's not their job. They just have oversight for public works and DPNR. But I am saying it's not one. It doesn't take one to make a vote. You need a majority. Just my opinion is unfair.
But let me share this with you. One senator can write to the Senate president asking or even a committee chair, asking that individual to convene a meeting whereby the committee, whether it is a committee of particular jurisdiction or the committee of the whole, can look into government's failure to do certain things and to see how the situation can be remedied.
Well, like I said, maybe the pressure should be on all the senators from the district, because I know your position as far as reapportionment is actually subdistricting, but my point is all the senators from St. Croix responsible for the entire island of St. Croix. Yes, some you may be more comfortable going to, but I am saying you have to look at them collectively, because there's a lot of complaints about things not being done on St. Croix, how we behind at St. Thomas, how St. Thomas gets the lion's share and all of that. But we elect them, and we are going to have the opportunity. Once again, many of them are going to run again for the same position. Some going to run for higher office. But the accountability is on all of them to make sure that the issues particular to St. Croix be addressed. Now, one of the things that I asked, and I wish you could come on my show so you could specifically address these questions, but I asked, what are the 5 top issues that the government needs to address? I know you mentioned a lot about this, the agile deal, and how the impact is an everlasting impact, because without, like you said, without the agile deal, GRS might already don't collapse. It's not a permanent fix. It's a fix nonetheless. It's like a fix of flat, but you still need a tire. But if this governor didn't make that bold move, we'll have been in what position?
I agree with you. I applaud what the governor and senators did to bring about a temporary fix. It is not a permanent fix, but it does bring a measure of reassurance as far as retirees are concerned, because there was a period of time when the majority of retirees, they were living in a state of constant anxiety, not knowing what would happen with the pension system. So it's a temporary fix, but a lot of work needs to be done.
Yeah, and so I'm saying this is the time now to put your concern not just on the AMB, but in him, because a lot of them, if not all, most of them seeking re-election. And putting it right to see how they respond. I'm not going to get personal. Small minds talk about people.
Yeah, but
minds talk about events grade myself about ideas, but if one gubernatorial candidate could never get my support because this individual ignored a letter that I co-signed with Abdul Ali concerning the same thing, reforms of the GRS. So you didn't answer my letter when you were senator. I think I'll answer when you are governor. I don't think so, but I do not imposing anybody. I am staying neutral. I like to see candidates campaign and tell me why I should render support to you. But I'm insulted by these political pundits that telling me who is the best candidate. That's your opinion. The best for you and the best for me. I think we need to use our intelligence. Let the candidate for ourselves when we go to the polls. Vote your conscience.
All right.
You and a higher power if you have any in your life. So I think that issue though needs to be addressed in terms of, I think to make it more fair with the issue with being a convicted felon.
Okay.
I believe
but let me just
before
but
we can several amendments I think they should put. I mean referendum questions on the ballot this time.
All right.
And that's one. The second one is should the Attorney General be an elected position?
Okay, that's number 2. And number 3?
And next one, moratorium on distillery.
Okay. All right.
There's a big concerns about the environmental impact.
All right.
And I'm not promoting no particular distillery. We know Diageo and Coors and Rum are the only 2 rum distilleries.
We only have 2 distilleries
in the territory
on 86 square miles of space on St. Croix. I don't recall the exact size of Puerto Rico right now, but Puerto Rico has about 13 rum distilleries. I think it's about, I might be mistaken, either 7 or 13 rum distilleries that Puerto Rico has compared to 2 on St. Croix. Yeah, but anyway, let's wrap up because somebody else wants to come in.
Hello?
Yeah, I was saying let's wrap up because somebody else wants to come in.
Okay, well, no problem. I just gave them food for thought and then I wrap up and say that knowledge is power, read to exceed, that this is a time when politicians demonstrate their skills and talents. Somebody could talk and see half a ice or something. Because I'm in the mood. Read for yourself. What is the eligibility requirements for each office?
Yeah.
And how the government is structured. And be cognizant of the fact we are under the U.S. flag and unincorporated territory. Right. We don't have our own constitution. We don't get to vote for the president. But and we don't vote for voting member of Congress. So all of these things we need to take into consideration and choose wisely. I don't tell people who to vote for, how to vote. All I'm saying is get the candidates for yourself, use your intelligence, and make the decision with a clear conscience. Thanks. Have a beautiful, blessed Monday.
You be blessed as well, and thanks for calling and sharing with us. Bye. All right. Let's see which one now. All right. Apparently, the caller who was holding on hung up. So, caller, the line is now cleared. you can give us a call. I want to make one statement relative to what the last caller mentioned. The caller is right in that our governing statutes right now speak to felony conviction of persons running for the legislature. But that item of felony conviction does not apply to candidates who seek to run for the highest office in the territory, which is the office of governor or lieutenant governor. And so certainly that's a situation that needs to be addressed, whether through the current process of drafting a constitution for the territory, or if we have to seek an amendment to the Organic Act which currently governs us. But certainly that's something that needs to be addressed. I don't see how we can ignore the probability of somebody having been convicted of a felony, and that person can run to hold the highest office, to be elected to hold the highest office in the territory, the highest elected office. But yet, that person would not cut the mustard to run for the legislature, which is the first branch of government. I think that's something that needs serious consideration in terms of equalizing the playing field for one and all. Another thing I wanted to point out is that when what's his name spoke with us, it is the same thing with what the last caller was saying when she spoke about the fact that Governor Bryan should be applauded. The legislature that worked with the Governor Bryan should be applauded for moving the legislation that established the special purpose vehicle, whereby the bonds could be floated to address the pending insolvency of the GRS system, at least on a temporary basis. It is not a permanent fix. And I want to say that people tend to forget. People take steps and people fail. But failure doesn't mean that you just simply give up. Making a mistake is not a bad thing, as long as you can learn from the mistakes that you make. And there is a saying, how does it go now? It says something about, and I forget who made that statement, but it goes to the effect that those who forget the mistakes of the past, they are condemned to repeat it. I want to say that again. Those who forget the mistakes of the past, they are condemned to repeat it. In other words, you don't forget the mistakes that you've made, but you learn from those mistakes. Simply because you failed once, or even a couple of times, or even on several occasions, that doesn't mean that you give up. You see how you can use those times when you failed as points of instruction, as moments for your learning, so that you can build upon the experience gained from such failures to see how you can get to do it right eventually. Somebody shared with us, I don't recall the exact situation, where WD-40 got its name, the WD-40 that we use to lubricate stuff, that it got its name from the 40 attempts that the inventor made before he or she finally got the product that he or she was looking for. 40 supposedly failed attempts, brought to the point of perfection, if I may, where the individual came up with the WD-40 lubricant. that is used so extensively with just in just about every area of mechanical work. Whether you use it in electrical work, you use it if you're working on your vehicles. If you have a rusted bolt in your house, you know, everybody reaches out for WD-40. WD-40 has so many applications. I even heard somebody say that a friend of hers used WD-40 to, Lord have mercy, to massage the knee so that whatever pains the individual is having in the knee, apparently from using WD-40, I find that incredible. It's incredulous as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, the person said that the individual used WD-40 to rub the knee and the pain went away. Now there is something called the placebo effect. So it may well be that, you know, that's one of those situations where there was a placebo effect where the person thought that, hey, this thing would be all in the mind. You know, I don't know, but I'm just saying that, you know, I'm just saying that WD-40 has so many widespread applications today, and yet it was on the 40th try that the inventor got it all together to come up with the perfect lubricant called WD-40. All right. A couple of other things I wanted to touch upon before I get into my little bit about the rum cover over. There is just so much I want to get into this morning as far as the rum cover over is concerned. But before we go there, I want to mention a couple of things. There was an accident out in the Frederiksted area. Of course, we were broadcasting from the island of St. Croix, and so some things are specific to the island, yet they can be seen in broader terms as well. There was an accident in the area of the market as you're heading into Frederiksted, and I understand that 2 individuals lost their lives. I take that one accident and I put it along with a compilation of a number of accidents we've been having, some crazy accidents. And I understand from media reports that it's not just here on the island of St. Croix, but perhaps throughout the territory, to include even St. John. There has been a rise in terms of motor vehicle accidents. And so as I looked at the figures, the statistics, what I have witnessed personally, some serious, some not so serious, some very minor. I looked at the past, where we used to be in terms of accidents, going back to the 70s and 80s. I look at our present situation and I tried to figure out what has given rise to all those crazy accidents we're seeing. Now, don't get me wrong. There were accidents in the past where people Centerline Road on St. Croix was so well paved that guys used to be just flying down Centerline. And so sometimes you had those accidents where people run off the road, vehicle wrapped into a mahogany tree and persons died. We had some of those incidents. We've had some crazy incidents. I remember one incident where a guy, again, speeding through and a horse came across. You know, the vehicle ran into the horse's head, and apparently the head hit the individual driver. And so that was catastrophic. We've had those crazy accidents. But I'm speaking in terms of the number of accidents we're having and the frequency of those accidents that we're having today. And my question is, where did we go wrong? And let me just share this with you folks. You know, we talk about service we expect from elected officials, how they did it in the past and how they're doing it today. And you just take that and make a projection into the future, see where it takes you. But here's the thing. Back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, perhaps even into the early 90s, The high schools in the territory, the public high schools in the territory, had driver's education classes. Our public high schools had driver's education classes being offered to seniors in particular, more particularly known. Seniors were allowed to take driver's education classes. I'm not aware of those in the earlier grades having to do that, but seniors were allowed to take driver's education classes. So you had students graduating from the high school, securing the driver's licenses, or at least being prepared to secure the driver's licenses. They knew the different aspects of defensive driving, so as to make the roadways safer for all drivers concerned, because defensive driving is a very important and critical approach to driving, where you're driving not just for you, the individual driver, but you're also driving for the other drivers on the road. And so for some reason, the driver's education classes were discontinued. The driver's education classes were so instrumental in getting drivers to do the right things whilst they were navigating the roadways, that even when individuals were found violating traffic laws and they were cited to make an appearance in court, judges were in a position to rule that such drivers, once found guilty, could have been sent to take driver's ed classes in the evening. We had driver's education classes being taught in the evening, so that the guys who had been convicted of violating certain traffic laws would be sentenced to attend driver's education classes. We don't have these things anymore, folks. And meanwhile, we have all kinds of people driving crazily on the roadways. And the question is why? Why did we take away something that served a good purpose? And that's exactly what has happened with public works. Responsibilities, duties that have been taken away from them and given to who? We don't even know. It's just not being done. So sometimes we think we're fixing a problem by taking certain steps, but we're making matters worse. And so that's something perhaps we need to revisit, to have some driver's education classes being taught at our public high schools. So the students in the senior classes, 12th grade, perhaps 11th grade as well, can get to take driver's education classes and be better prepared drivers to navigate our public roadways. Just thought I would mention that. And then I wanted to also mention that last week, Monday, when I left the studios here and I was driving home, somebody ran into my vehicle, rear-ended me. That's how it is said. Somebody rear-ended my vehicle. And when I got out to check to see what was happening. I suppose my foot must have been on the brake, because I was in a traffic situation where it was like stop and go, or at least pause and go. There were lots of vehicles on the road. We were approaching a stoplight, and so my foot must have been on the brake, because when the individual ran into me, I did not immediately run into the person ahead of me, But anyway, I switched off my vehicle, went back to see what was happening or what had happened. Good thing I didn't go in between the two vehicles, because the individual again ran straight into my vehicle and pushed it forward a bit. My wife was in the vehicle in the passenger side, and so she pulled up the handbrake so that the vehicle wouldn't go any further. The emergency brake, that is. Anyway, by the time I tried to get to the driver was going through a medical episode of sorts, a health situation. The driver was laying back in his seat, head slightly tilted, kind of like throbbing at the mouth, and sort of like going into something like an epileptic seizure. But I noticed that he had a pad, like a gauze pad. I think it's gauze, you call it, like a gauze pad on his arm, which means that apparently he was coming from some medical treatment. And so I now, in a panic situation, sort of, because I'm not really familiar with such things, I stepped into oncoming traffic asking people, is there anybody? I'm shouting out, is there anybody who has medical knowledge? This guy is having a medical emergency of sorts. And you know what, people? Most people just drove by and didn't give a rat's tail. This is crazy. This is how we are in this place today. In this century, that's how we're living. Most people just driving by, didn't give a rat's tail. But there's some Caucasian lady pulled up, and then she asked me, don't you have a cell phone? I said, I do have a cell phone, but it's in the vehicle. And she said, well, just call 911. But she obviously proceeded to call 911. A little bit of misinformation was given in terms of the location where that had happened. And then I guess other persons called 911 as well. Eventually, now, mind you, a police vehicle passed by. My wife tried to get the attention of the occupants in that vehicle. Nobody took her on. Went about their business. Then another police vehicle came along, and my wife, in similar fashion, tried to get the attention of the individual in there. It was a young lady, Officer J. Edwards is her name. I want to repeat that again. The young officer, her name is J. Edwards. I don't know what the J stands for. Obviously, she's pretty much like a rookie on the force. But she came over. She pulled to the side, first of all, and then she came across to see what was happening. And once she saw the condition of the gentleman in the driver's seat, she might have asked me one or two questions, and then immediately she went to her vehicle to get some kind of an emergency kit and came by to render assistance. And then eventually she asked me to help her get the gentleman out of the vehicle, to put him on the ground, put him to lie on the ground so that, he could be attended to. But she was so professional. She was so calm and collected. Man, this young woman just impressed me. And then subsequently other people came along, to include Officer Christopher. I think Jada Christopher is her name. And she was the one who questioned me, etc. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, my brethren, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Good morning and welcome to the program. Just give me 1 quick second before I allow you to continue.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, so the traffic officer who came to deal with my case, her name is Jada Christopher, I think is her name. And she was also very professional. She was too professional. Because I know the young lady as a child growing up. I've not seen her in years and I didn't recognize her. Now, she didn't say to me, well, hey, Mr. John Baptiste, I am so-and-so. But she was just professional and even read me my Miranda rights. And I said, what are you reading that to me for? Are you going to arrest me? But anyway, they were very professional. And I want to say thanks to them. But I believe that impresses us to have as many as possible in our schools take courses in, how you call it, basic first aid and so on, so that we can know what to do in situations like that, even in the absence of trained medical personnel. Yes, my brother, let me hear you.
You with me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. No, I said that I had tried getting in earlier because I tuned in and I heard two voices I haven't heard in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
A boy from the BBI, where my parents are from, and yourself, Jean-Baptiste from St. Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard the two voices for a while. So I was saying maybe it is Easter Monday. It has to be some special Monday.
Are we there yet?
Yeah. Huh?
Are we already there at Easter Monday?
No, not yet, not yet.
Oh.
No, I just joking with that. No, we're not there yet.
All right.
Yeah, no, but what I was saying is that a lot of things that I involve myself into on the mainland and in other countries are things that I could not accomplish in my homeland. And maybe it's sad for me in a way. Some would say, who the hell you think he is? Other people could do it too, you know. But, you know, I mean, it's still a situation because whereas in the cities of West Palm Beach, Florida, and Houston, Texas in particular, also in other southern states, that's mostly where I travel. We have been taking homeless people off the streets, cleaning them up, doing everything up to and including building a home for them. Why? Because there's federal money that's available for the public. Why the Virgin Islands don't do it, I cannot say. I do not know. The powers that be probably will tell you another story and say that in nonsense. So come see why Billy, now come. Miss Margaret Price, who you might know, she has to be a nice gamer like myself, from the state somewhere, Chicago, somewhere about. She's been in the Virgin Islands for a long time. And she knows about a building program called Lil Houses. Lil, not meaning a matchbox of a house. It means a basic home. If you're building a home for a veteran alone, you don't need a 10-bedroom house like the governor down for the Port Authority building. You don't need that type of home. We build starter homes. Sometimes we go down to 700 square feet, 800, 900. Of course, the average home, like I and maybe yourself and others will want to live in, 2,000, 2,500 square feet. Big home. Swimming pool in the backyard and all of that. Because that's why I work. That's why I work hard to get these things. But people that's out of their luck, who have fought for this country, that one man is now not destroyed, it's already destroyed. He destroyed not only the country called America, he destroyed the world. But yet he gets praised. He's the best thing that ever lived. Same with the governor. Yes, I say that has destroyed the Virgin Islands. But he gets praises, so he's the best governor. I will close by saying this. One of the things I also involve myself in is the youth, the children, not the leaders of tomorrow, the leaders of now. I am sure you as a biblical man knows the passage that says, and the children will lead us. And are they leading us? A 12-year-old boy in Ukraine, when they ask him what he wants to be when he grow up, he said, grow up? He said, I want to be an engineer ahora mismo, right now. They said, why? Just so I can rebuild my homeland. That thing brought tears to my eyes. 12 years old, he wants to rebuild his homeland. And we got a governor with billions of dollars and wouldn't put on a roof, and 700 people that are still without roofs. But he's the best governor. They don't like me. I don't want them to like me. Okay? Because what I say is the truth. Then what you don't like me for? And I must come home to do what? To look for what? Like I said, who I cannot help in my homeland, I would help where? Okay. Then there was the young girl, I think she's in the 4th grade. And she has already become an author. She wrote a book. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I am so glad, proud, and happy that these are other people cheer on that I am helping. And finally, I know that you probably know Miss Tiniqua Knowles. She does have a program on the Friday afternoons on the same channel, 97 Net.
Mm-hmm.
She too, as a young lady, she's just in her 20s, I believe, 26, I think she said. She has written every children books.
Mm-hmm.
And the children would lead us. Thank you, John.
Before you run, and let me just say, we have a 14-year-old, I think it is, between 12 and 14, who is currently a physician. You know, he has.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's either
In the
12.
Virgin Islands?
No, on the mainland, either 12
Okay.
or 14 years of age.
Oh, yes, I believe I read
Yeah.
something. Yes, I did. I read something on that. Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so it tells you a lot about the species, the human species, in terms of development, mental development today, or intellectual development, if I may. So, yes, that's something that we need to pay careful attention to. But there is one thing we have to understand, that the intellectual development, the extreme intelligence that one has, must be tempered with wisdom. You know,
Right.
because if you don't have wisdom to strike a balance, you're apt to do things that you shouldn't do, to say things that ought not to be said, etc. So that's what I have.
And Jan, yes, and Jan, that is so correct, because, you know, around this time of year, you would hear them and those that are thriving or demanding, some of them, to be our leaders, to get elected to public office. And oh, how they would praise the children. We love children. They're kissing up the people children. They're giving out lollipops, book bags, and all kinds of foolishness. Not from their heart, like things like you do, but they do this for one purpose only, to get the votes of their parents.
Absolutely.
And you know, it is sad, because when we look back of how we say we love the children, you look at a law in the Virgin Islands that was crafted by Governor Adelbert Ford Bryan and Cleon Cricky Maynard and one other senator, that it's about 40 some odd years now that law has been on the book. But the three branches of government refuse to implement it or to do it. Why? Because it was Brian last. It was somebody else of note, of work. But who the hell is Bob Brian? Even though he could have been a dead veteran because he served in wars, but they don't care about that. He still named Bob Brian. He better change his name. But that's how we're going to continue, and that's why I continue to praise my friend Macedon, the Calypsonian.
Dobby.
We hate, yes, Dobby. We hate one another too long.
Let me ask
you continue
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you think that the devil, Satan, has done anything that we should consider?
If Satan has done anything
that we, as human beings, should consider, should give consideration to?
Well, no. Satan has done nothing. We allow him to get into our psyche and turn our behind up inside our head. There are powers greater than Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus and God.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
the two has given us the power
mm-hmm.
to stay away from that good for nothing, but we love devilism. And we love getting in bed with Satan and Epstein and Albert and the whole bunch of them.
All right.
That's what's the problem with us.
All right. So let me say this. Let me say this to you and those listening and viewing. Just to put things in perspective, if I may.
Yeah.
Had Satan not tormented Job how he did, we would not have had the opportunity today to see the integrity of Job, to see his stick-to-itiveness when it comes to the standards of righteousness. If Satan had not tempted the Messiah in the wilderness the way he did, the Messiah perhaps would not have had an opportunity to guide us in terms of how best to resist temptation.
True. You know, a lot of us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think those two examples will suffice, even though there are many others. It shows us that sometimes we need to see the place, the necessity of the things that we abhor in this life, because they allow for us to excel. If you didn't have individuals in need of healing, in need of medical attention, then we wouldn't be able to appreciate them, how should I put it, the expertise of the physician, the cancer specialist, etc. So I just want us to understand that sometimes there is much that we can learn or benefit from in terms of the experiences of people, persons, elements, conditions that may be adversarial to our position, our place here on the planet. So that when you look at, so that sometimes out of chaos cometh good. The governor, Albert Bryan, I'm not necessarily here to characterize him in any fashion, but there are some things that he has done that has been beneficial to us. And I just want to say that, yes, I won't stop people to tell people that you shouldn't criticize the governor. If he's done stupidness, tell it like it is. But also admit that, that he has done some things that has been good for us.
For sure. But maybe the bad outweighs the good. But anyway, let me close by saying this. That, as a man that was brought up, a young man that was brought up in a Christian home, and that used to have to study the Bible from Genesis to Deuteronomy. I know the word. Yes, I became a slave of the world. And the night things, liquor, women, this, that, the other. But I still know the word. And of course, the situation with, I was going to say Lot, but I said not Lot, with Job, when his wife tells him to curse God and die, the woman will sit down, shut his mouth. He will sit down. It says that in so much words, the God is telling the truth. And Job, stood up because she was cursing him because he didn't curse God. And that because, so much was done to him that he shall pass because God, he should have just cursed God and died.
Yeah.
And he told us he was a foolish woman. Okay?
Yep.
But God knows why he allowed Job to endure. And Job himself knows why, with all he was placed through, suffered, and yet continue to call on the name of God and to serve the Lord.
And that's important. That's important for all of us because we can learn from his experience.
Very important. You know, some people that have criticized me say, hey, he read him book and he like woman and he a drink the liquor. But this idiot, what I got to do with serving God? What I got to know with knowing the book and knowing the word? The woman come in my head.
Yeah.
Woman in 95 years, I don't know God.
Yeah.
I don't know for them.
Yep. I don't think, contrary to what some may tell you, I don't think that King Solomon, being the wisest man who has walked on the earth and having had 1,001 wives and concubines, I don't think that necessarily condemns him to the pit of hell.
True.
You know.
True. But anyway, I was going to let somebody get a little chance, but I was waiting for a long time, but it was a good wait. Thanks again, John.
All right. Thanks for calling and sharing. You stay strong.
Yes.
Hello, caller. Hello. Good morning. All right, frankly. All right, 773-0390, 773-0490. Hello, caller. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning and welcome.
Oh, good morning again. It seems so hypocritical to me. America, right? And the dollar bill is saying that we trust. And it was formed, the 13 counties, to get away from religious persecution. And yet we have Easter holidays. Those are religious holidays, Christian holidays. And it says in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. Yet, this president is violating human rights and killing innocent babies. I don't believe in the death penalty. But I find it so interesting that the people who claim to be Christian believers, the one thing they don't seem to be consistent with is the part that says, thou shalt not kill. Shouldn't you be against the death penalty if you are Christian? If you're against abortion, wouldn't it be more consistent if you're also against death penalty? Because the basis for being against abortion is it is taking a life. Although it's not a full-formed human being, it's not a person, it hasn't emerged into the world, not a person, it's not a citizen.
Well,
but the same people that promote that will say, okay, kill a full-grown human being that is a citizen of the United States, the death penalty. It's not a contradiction.
Let me share this with you since you brought this up. Let me share this with you and those listening and viewing based on what knowledge I've been able to glean from the good book. First of all, there were situations, conditions where the Creator who gave laws to Moses justified the taking of a life. That was under the Old Testament. Before we came to the New Testament, the Creator also said that he was going to amend the covenant that he made with the world and ancient Israel, if I may, where he would come to a point where everybody would have the laws written in their hearts. So you wouldn't have to look at the 10 Commandments to know what is good, what is right, what is acceptable to the Most High, but it would be in your heart. Your heart would lead you in that direction. Then, when the Messiah came, in one instance, he was questioned about the law of divorcement, because Moses in the Old Testament allowed for a man to divorce his wife. And so he was questioned about it, and the Messiah said, Moses permitted divorcement because of the hardness of your heart, but it wasn't so in the beginning. And then he went on to teach that in the Old Testament, it was said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, etc. But he says, I'm showing you a new way. If somebody slaps you on the left, turn the other side. If somebody wants to take take away your jacket, let them take the shirt also. If somebody wants to force you to go X number of miles, go a little further than that. He was teaching us to be tolerant, to be understanding, to be compassionate. He was teaching us some fine virtues when he presented these things. So that even under the Old Testament law of taking a life because somebody had done something wrong, somebody had killed, you take a life for a life. Even then, the offense had to be, how should I put it? You had to have had 2 or 3 witnesses before you found somebody guilty. In other words, I didn't just come up and say, so and so has done this to me and so is wrong. No, my statement must be supported by the testimony of an additional 2 witnesses. That's how it was. So that you shouldn't just want to exercise capital punishment today when we have situations where the justice system has not worked well. People have been innocent and yet tried and found guilty. So you don't want to end up, hanging, electrocuting people who have been unjustly convicted. So I would say no to capital punishment. The other thing I would say is that given what the testimony of Yeshua the Messiah, and at this time in the development of humankind, I don't think we should have capital punishment. That's my position. And so maybe the Christians who support capital punishment, they somehow have not made a transition from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Maybe somehow they're misunderstanding the passage in the Bible that says all scripture have been given by inspiration of God and is profitable for instruction, for reproof and for correction in things righteous. Maybe they've not really looked at it from that standpoint.
Maybe they just look at the Old Testament, which is like Sharia law.
Possibly.
Stoning a woman to death for adultery. But they say nothing about a husband now.
Well, again,
under Islam, he could have as many wives as he wants. He could have a concubine like Muhammad. He like King Henry VIII. They could have affairs. They could have illegitimate children. But the wife gets out of order. She's the only one that's going to bear the brunt of brutality.
And
I don't know. I
agree.
can't believe in such an evil God.
No, God is not evil. God is not evil.
I said such an evil God. I'm not talking about your God. I'm just generalizing. I can't follow no evilness with nobody.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, brother.
Something to justify.
All right. Let me ask you something.
Human life.
Let me ask you something. You're living in a country where you have 5,000 women and you have 2,000 men. Of the 5,000, of the 3,000, you have 3,000 women, 2,000 men. Just put it at that. And all the women want to have intimacy, but you don't have enough men to give them intimacy. Don't you think it's appropriate that some adjustment should be made to allow for some sharing?
Well, for me personally, I don't have no problem with that. What people want to do with it bad, yes.
Well, it's not a matter of it's not a matter of, no, it's not a matter. Listener, I live in a country where I abide by the laws of the country, and the country says that it is one husband, one wife. I abide according to that.
It's bigamy.
Well, hear me out. And I'm saying that perhaps there are situations where you have like a ratio of 3 women to 1 man. I don't have a problem if people agree to share. I don't have a problem with that. I can understand, listener, you have a situation where this one guy has 1 woman in a situation, a complex, a given situation, and you've got 5 other women out there suffering to have a man and they can't have a man. Do some sharing. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that either. I'm saying, and I don't care what people believe in and what God they want to worship. As long as they don't infringe their beliefs or mine. But, you know, I'm just talking about the hypocrisy with this nation, America, and what this Trump regime is doing. Total disregard for international law, the laws of human rights, and Congress hasn't even declared war.
So,
and I was speaking to, I recently met a former student of mine who served 3 years incarcerated. And we were even discussing about the death penalty because I was really impressed. He said at first, the first year, he had a difficult time adjusting and he was in gang and all of that stuff. He didn't kill anybody, but he was in gangs. And he said the last 2 years that he spent, he was sentenced to 5 years, but he was released early. The last 2 years, all he did was read. He read so many different things. And that changed his life. And I said, that's the reason, because I spoke to him about the death penalty. I said, you never know. That person could commit the most horrific crime, the most atrocious murder. However, is there a chance of redemption? I believe so. I believe in a chance of redemption. You are cold-blooded serial murder. It's possible. Not likely, but it's possible. Because that person could be the one in a million. So I was telling him, he learned so much by reading. And I told him the story of this guy. He didn't finish high school. He was a dropout. And he committed first-degree murder. He got convicted. He's doing a 30 years sentence. And he didn't know a thing about mathematics, didn't read. But he just was inspired. He had so much time on his hands. He decided to start to read. He earned his GED. And he did something like it's a 1 in a million chance. He developed a mathematical theorem and solved some mathematical puzzles that no one else has. And while he was doing that, he was writing to different mathematicians and they were ignoring him. Only one responded, and that took off. And from there, he got his work published. But the point I'm making is, and this was a high school dropout, okay? And the point I'm making is, every life is precious. I believe in the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Of course, if it's to protect my life or my self-preservation, that's a different thing, self-defense. And I said, for that reason, we never know. It's possible redemption can occur. That cold-blooded serial killer, if given a chance, could discover the cure for cancer. You never know, because they got so much time on their hands.
I'm not against that.
Read. That's not this farmer student said that's all he did. He read. But some people, you know, like say, actions speak louder than words. Some people could talk a good talk. But what they say isn't consistent with what they do.
Vidal, hear me out on this. I support abortions under certain circumstances. I believe that in life there are mitigating circumstances that cause people to take certain action. And that's the whole reason why when I speak about the ratio of women to men, I believe in monogamous relationships, but I'm saying if it comes to a point where we have a ratio that puts things out of balance, I don't have a problem with three women agreeing to share a man. That's all I'm saying. I'm not promoting promiscuity in any sense. I'm saying that sometimes you have mitigating circumstances. Just like killing, taking a life. To defend myself, I am going to kill. Because I gotta preserve myself against somebody who's attacking me.
Right.
So I will take necessary action. So I'm saying that sometimes, man, we shouldn't take laws and regulations, rules that are made to guide us in such a rigid fashion that in spite of mitigating circumstances, we're unwilling to let this slide. You follow what I'm saying to you? And so, that's all I'm saying. So that I believe that, so I try not to get into conflict with Christians who disagree with me, but I think a lot of Christians, they tend to be a little too narrow-minded when it comes to interpretation of the Bible. Many of them. I think they need to relax themselves a bit, take a deep dive.
I think you have to be open-minded too, because your interpretation is just one. Mm-hmm. And I can interpret in different ways. Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with that,
It's a book of parables and metaphors.
Uh-huh.
I am definitely not good with parables.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a literal person. Mm-hmm. You got to tell me exactly what you mean. Mm-hmm. I don't want to guess. I don't want to read between the lines. I don't want to decode no language. I like precise language.
Yeah. Vidal, this morning on my way to the studio, I passed a young woman. She has 3 black plastic bags hanging over her shoulders. And she's walking along the Melvin Evans Highway when you leave the Paradise area, heading west. And I watched her. And it's like I could see somebody who's destitute, who needs help. And I told my wife, man, I'm sorry, but when I see people like this on the roads, it hurts me. I wish I could do something to help. I don't want to just stop and ask them, what's going on, if there is something I can do to be of assistance. But when I see...
I'm going to say that, because recently when I was walking this Sunday, I cut something, I think it's the same one you talk about, that's in the Glen area.
Uh-huh.
She found her home and that's a mahogany tree.
Uh-huh.
This is where she has been now for weeks.
Okay.
Rain or shine. Mm-hmm. And I happened to be passing. I pass all the time, but this time I saw a lady came off a vehicle. That's a vehicle, the motor vehicle. And I asked the lady if she's a family member. She said no, that she'd have just come and she'd have gave her money because she goes, they have nearby things. She walk. I'm like, that's a long walk. She walks to Subway to buy a sandwich. So when I said she regularly gave her money, and she gave her the raincoat that she had on. Mm-hmm. That she had on the raincoat now when it's raining or the sun shining. Mm-hmm. She has on the raincoat. Mm-hmm. And she's under this tree. So I said, okay, I never bothered to say anything to her because I know how they are. I said, even if they have family members and look them up, unless they are threats to themselves or to others, you can't touch them.
Yeah.
You can't make them go to no shelter because they have the constitutional right and they don't tell you so. If she wants to stay under a tree, she has that choice. And it appears that she chooses to be under the tree. And I tell you why. Because I started to cry. And I said, I see her there, but I didn't know how to approach her or anything. And I feel bad for her because she should not be under a tree. There are facilities, but I understand.
I hear what you say about these constitutional rights, but we have a higher obligation to look out for our brothers and sisters who find themselves falling through the cracks.
I agree.
you know.
Because I saw boohooing, crying with a woman. I'm like, it pains me to see that this woman is under the street.
Well, anyway.
So the woman hugged me and she told me her name and everything. And she said, just give us something. And I said, okay, I have nothing right now. But the next time. But on the way back now, I was hesitant, but I did approach her. And I asked her if she would need any help. She told me no. Would you like me to get you anything? She told me no. I said, well, if any time you wish, let me know because I'm always passing here. But I think what it is trust issue. Maybe she built a trust relationship with that woman who's not related to her.
Right.
And someone
you're still a
water, and I
yeah.
said, you know something? If I attempt to give her this water, she's probably not going to accept it. So I think I have to build trust. But since she's in the public, I took several photos and I'm going to post it on Facebook and I'm going to see the reaction of people. If there's any family member out there, please. And if anybody could identify her, please show some humanity. Show some love and respect. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
You got to, you know, I know it's going to take a while because she has to feel, she trusts you to open up to you because she asked you, she's intelligent to understand what I was asking her. She tell me no. So I think she wants her space, she doesn't want to be bothered, but at the same time, I do believe this person might be suffering from a mental health crisis.
Well, we have,
and I think we have an obligation.
Definitely, we have an obligation. I got to hold you there because somebody else is trying to come in.
Okay, all right, thanks. So, I just want to put that over there.
All right, thanks for calling and sharing. Bye. All right, don't tell me that. Oh no. Caller, go ahead and try again. Try again. I'm going to. I hear what Vernon is saying, and I'm saying, folks, we do have an obligation to see what we can do to assist those persons. Let me see if I have a little chance to rush into something. Rum cover over wise. First of all, I want to say that when you speak about the lack of a permanent fix for GRS, and I've already submitted to you that is the situation, there's a lot more to be done. But I want to point out that sometimes when, how should I put it? It seems that sometimes mistakes have been made, missteps, if I may. And we tend to relegate these things to the pit of hell. Somebody failed to do this, or somebody did something that wasn't good enough, you know. We build upon the successes as well as the mistakes of those who have gone before us. And so I want to point out, as far as GRS is concerned, people, even before Governor Albert Bryan moved legislation to address pension bonds using rum cover over, when the Diageo deal was being passed, one of the recitals was always that contained in the law. You know, one of the recitals was that the new monies should be used to shore up the retirement system. Also, I don't recall the exact piece of legislation that was moved. I don't know if this was tied to 6905 or if it was before 1960, before 6905, when we dealt.
Amber Alert. VIPD seeks missing 13-year-old Sophia Guandolo, aka Bamboo. Last seen 3/12 at Estate Mountain Street. Croy wearing black pants and blue shirt. Black female, 5'4", 140 pounds. Black hair, brown eyes. Known to frequent canebrake housing community. If seen, call 911 or 340-778-2211.
All right, that's an Amber alert that came in, so I thought I should just let it be played. But anyway, I was saying very quickly that the legislature had already authorized a 600 million pension obligation bond to help show up the GRS that was never implemented by the governor at the time. Let me hear what this caller has to say. Hello, caller. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, greetings. Good day to you. You mentioned something about interpretation in the Bible. You have different interpretation. But I think we can look at what the words mean in the context. You know what the power of dictionary to tell the meaning of words is in the context. So, for example, when they say in Matthew 21, I began to dance to the fourth day of the week when the king is sepulchre. The word dawn in that context does not mean early in the morning.
Okay.
Because they said in the Sabbath don't end early in the morning, does it?
The Sabbath ends at sunset. Okay,
so and then they say, so it can mean that they came early. The common theme is that the so-called resurrection took place early Sunday morning, correct?
That's the understanding of many.
The Easter observances, right? But this contradicts that. Because the Sabbath does not end in the morning, it ends in the evening. So obviously one of them is wrong, just like the one with Sunday.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week. That's how it is written.
Correct. And that means the week, even modern day time, the day starts in the evening, not in the morning, because 12 a.m. is the next day, correct?
Right.
So therefore, that time was sundown. So similar sundown is when they eat the first day and the second day begins, correct?
Well, maybe the translators put it wrong. It should have been that the Sabbath having ended, when it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, those women came to the tomb.
Well, they did say in the end of the Sabbath. That's clear. They say in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn through the 40 week, came Mary Magdalene and other women to the sepulchre. So the Sabbath, let's say that's clarification. You know what I'm saying? So these things that's so easily resolved once you get the meaning of the word in context. For example, the word virgin, which is a major problem for many people to understand that the word virgin does not only mean absence of intercourse.
True.
People go to any grocery store and buy extra virgin oil or virgin oil, but that's not to do with intercourse, correct? So therefore, when we talk about the woman being a virgin, obviously it cannot mean absence of intercourse because humans procreate using intercourse. There's no record of anybody other than the so-called Christian doctrine of a force, a woman bringing a child with use of man, when that's with man. You know what I'm saying? But when you check about it, when you check the meaning of the word virgin in the context of Isaiah 14:8 and Matthew 1:23, it's talking about an alma virgin. The two meanings, alma meaning righteous woman, your mother and your wife, my wife, your young daughter, those are alma virgins. We also sometimes the fuller virgins, which are few are non-intimate celibate virginity, you see what I'm saying? So therefore, the two meanings for the same word. And we have a third meaning again, which has to do with how the oil is prepared without use of heat. So the deception can be easily eradicated when you check the meaning of the word based on the context.
So then let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. How could the birth of the Messiah be considered a miraculous birth if you allow that Mary and the espoused husband who would have had sex? If they had sex, then the birth couldn't be miraculous.
And that is therein lies the rub. The greatest weapon used against human deception. Let me show you something. Romans 1:3 says, "He shall be of the seed of David according to the flesh." The word seed in that context means sperm. So he shall be of the sperm of David according to the flesh. This is fact. So I'm saying no human, other than the first humans who were created at the same time, come to the public belief of Christianity, were created through sperm and egg. The first humans, male and female, were created through the Creator at the first beginning of humanity. But anything after that was sperm and egg. So what I'm saying is that the popular belief that there was no intercourse is false. based on the fact that I say, Romans didn't say according to the spirit, they say according to the flesh. You got the lineage in Matthew and Luke. Begat, begot, and begotten all have the same meaning. For male and female come together and mix it. So I say only God is son. The creator only God with intercourse.
Okay. That's understood. Let me ask you something then. Are you aware that there is a genealogy that traces the birth of the Messiah from Mary going back to David and not through Joseph? That the lineage goes from Mary, the seed, the woman.
Listen. There are two lineages.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, the first one as in Matthew go back to Mary, as you claim, but the second go back to Adam. And that is how it should be. Because okay, let me ask you a question again. How did Abraham beget Isaac? Did he masturbate?
No, he did not. He slept with his wife as the angel foretold he was going to sleep with his wife.
But why did the writers of the scripture include Sarah? He didn't hear something that Abraham and Sarah begat Isaac. Isaac and Rebecca begat Jacob. That is neo chauvinism and patriarchal foolishness. So I'm saying the first commandment given to humans is intercourse. 127 of Genesis says, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth.
True.
How do you accomplish that?
It is true. Yes, okay.
So my point is the concept of the birth without intercourse is actually antichrist or anti-Messiah.
All right.
You don't need a lineage. If there's no intercourse.
So let me ask you a question. Even if the works have been tampered with to some extent, they've been tampered with. They're not perhaps an accurate representation of what transpired. But do you think that would deny the messiahship of Yeshua?
Well, not the supernatural part. Because when he told his followers, he said the same works you see me do, you shall do also, and even greater works. So he let you know, hey, people know exactly better than me. That's in the Bible. So that you see, what they have done is deified a man, which is idolatry. What you deify a person, a place, or a thing, that's idolatry. Because of who it is, or what place it is, or what thing it is. You know what I'm saying? So all of us, as Psalm 82:6 said, I have said all of you are God's small g. And all of you are joining Most High. Not just Jesus. All of us are joining Most High. How are we able to think Christianity creating all of the world?
Listen, can I say something to you? Give me a call sometime. I'd like you to come on the show with me one of these days, so we can do a deep dive. You have any objections to that?
Yeah, we can arrange that. Yeah.
All right. Let's see how we can arrange that so we can have a discussion one of these days, and dive deeply into some of these things. All right. But my
the last thing I think is this thing was coming up now. I want again, if I want to they could show me where the third night in the resurrection story is. They got Friday night, Saturday night. If the resurrection Sunday morning was the third night.
Yeah.
$500 waiting, they can't find it.
All right.
A big light. Talk to me later, brother.
All right. Thanks for calling and sharing. You stay strong. Keep the faith, brother. Bye. All right, folks. I didn't get to touch upon all of the the Roma cover over this morning, but we'll get to it. I want to thank those who called and shared with us. And until next week, same time, same place, you guys stay safe, be blessed, and give thanks and praises, and we'll reconnect at the appropriate time. Bye.